Hey everybody, Edo here, and Floriferous is coming to Kickstarter in just a few days, March 23rd, Tuesday, and as has become a tradition on this channel, I'm going to talk about what we did the same and different from previous Kickstarter campaigns. If you're not aware, Floriferous Games has done a number of Kickstarters, and as a creator, I'm always trying to watch what's happening, think about my campaigns, try new things, experiment. You know, I tend to mix it up, but at the same time, I tend to do a lot of things the same. And so the purpose of this video is to share that with other creators, so people have some idea and insight of the thought process that I'm going through, and that maybe it helps you with your campaign. The development process for Floriferous was a bit different than other games in the Herbaceous Sprouts, the Whatnot Cabinet line. This was still with Steve Finn. But if you're curious about the design process, that you can look at the video I posted a few weeks ago called Finding Floriferous. And that's really about how we came to this design, which is fantastic. Also, if you want to learn more about go-to-market and preparing for a Kickstarter, that's something you can look at. I recently did a video about a go-to-market plan and how to sort of do all the different things you need to do to be ready to launch a Kickstarter, and that's another resource available. But this is really specifically about the Kickstarter page and sort of running the Kickstarter. So to jump in, let's start with a lot of the things that we're doing that's the same or similar. A number of years back now, I moved away from doing prototypes via the Game Crafter or other services, board game boxes, or different ways I was doing it, and actually started working with our printer to create a small set of prototypes. It's not a print run, it's like a small prototype run, but they're higher quality, and it's great because you get some really nice versions that you can distribute, and you can get 10 or 20 at a time. But also, I've found it's an incredible way to actually get a little bit more into the process of preparing your files. And the amount of mistakes and issues that I've found during this process that then made the final game better are, I still often have mistakes and problems that get made even after I've done all this, but this definitely will catch a few things you might not have otherwise seen. I remember in particular on the 100 Tory, the way we had put some things in the box, sort of sunk in a way I hadn't expected, and just being able to see it, being like, we need to fix that. So another thing that we've done for a number of campaigns now is worked with Ross from More Games Please, who's an incredible photographer, and use some of that photography as part of the layout and setup of the page. Oh, I will link the actual Kickstarter. I'll have the preview page, so if you want to check it out. But then actually the Kickstarter page, so you can look and see how the page is laid out. Feel free to give comments. More than happy to have them. It's almost done. Some new content is coming in. I got a few days left. Come on, but you can look at it, and it'll help you understand some of the things that I'm talking about. So we lead in with a fantastic photo, and then the general layout is pretty similar to what I've done in the past on these campaigns. I think it looks like a lot of Kickstarters, but trying to be welcoming and bright and embodying the product and being thematic. You know, the campaign for Skull Hollow or the 100 Tory looks very different than Floriferous, but trying to be evocative of the theme and the experience and the folks you think who are going to be playing your product. You know, in the page, you want to hook them, right? Also, you know, saying, hey, this is from the company that made these other games, putting some awards. That's a product of having done made more things, right? Another thing that we've done is we have a lot of solo modes, and in particular, been working with Keith Mateka, who's great. This is Steve Finn, who did the main design with me. He was the lead, but we worked on it together. One of the things we've been trying to do is bring a lot of personality to the solo mode, so it's not just another player count, but, you know, in this case, it's the pesky guest, it's a crow, and we actually create its own title and banner. That's in the rule book, but also part of the Kickstarter campaign, and I think it elevates what you're doing with your solo. It says, hey, we care enough about this that the mode has a name and it has some personality to it, and I think that goes a long way. Also on this campaign have a early spring mini expansion. That's something I've been doing commonly. For those who have been paying attention, about 5 campaigns ago, maybe even more, stop making them exclusive, but still extra value separate from the retail package on the outside, and then not at retail. They can be found on our website or at conventions if folks are going to that, but really sort of saying, hey, this is something you're going to have that other folks won't have, if they're just buying it when it goes out into distribution. The other thing I'll note on the same is pretty modest marketing spend. I really feel that there's a lot of traps and pitfalls with large marketing spend, and I think it's really expensive to recoup marketing spend. Development dollars, things you've put investing into the product come first. But for marketing to be effective, it's really got to not just spread awareness, so that's valuable, but it's really got to convert to backers, and then not looking at the total dollars, but after you take out all your costs, oh yeah, it was 100 people, but really each one of those people made $1, and I spent $1,000 on $100 of profit or whatever. So I just am very hesitant to spending that, especially as those costs are escalating. They're getting really big, and I just haven't seen the success. So what are some of the things that are different, though? Again, in no particular order, and I'm reading on a sheet as I go, so if you see me looking down. But we did a tabletop simulator version. I have had some on previous campaigns, and the Herbaceous Pocket one had one because we had already had the Herbaceous one. But we did this one earlier, had it professionally done. It's much nicer, better, scripting, and we've been using it to do some demoing, some streaming. It's not available yet, but with the campaign, we're going to make it available to anyone and really just try to invest it as a tool. And I think it's been good. I don't really expect there's going to be a ton of people who only back games they can play on Tabletop Simulator, but it is a great way to let people play and share and show, and great for streamers as well. So I think it's worthwhile. We're going to have to wait to see, but I'm pretty happy with it. Another thing that we've changed is, so for this, we set a real goal for our preview page to get 1,000 subs or whatever on the preview page. This is the little banner page you can get if you submit your Kickstarter. And as part of that, we were talking a lot about content release and timing. Historically, Pencil First Games has focused on having all of the campaigns, the previews, whatever, launch day or after the campaign has launched, because I strongly believe the best thing you can do is get somebody excited about something and then let them be able to buy it or back it, right? You want them to convert, so you want them to be that's amazing, oh, I can get it, I got it, right? If they're oh, that's amazing, now I have to wait 3 months or 2 months, I think that's problematic. But with the Tabletop Simulator and the preview copies and things that were coming on, I wasn't as sort of wait until the final day as I had been previously. And certainly we've been able to drive more backers to that page. So that's been a big part of what we're doing, and I think it's been worth it, but we'll find out as we go. So what else here? Not using a pledge manager. So generally speaking, Pencil First Games has never used a pledge manager. We've just always done the Kickstarter survey. But what we decided was, with Herbaceous Pocket Edition, we did use a pledge manager. It went fine. It actually grew probably 10% of the actual Kickstarter funding, what we made, another 10% on top of that. And no issues, no problems. It worked. It was pretty straightforward. But, you couldn't necessarily offer the same thing to different backers in different regions, and just really, I don't know, it just felt it was an extra step that I didn't have a problem with it, but I didn't love it either. So ultimately, I just decided not to do it for Floriferous, and we won't be doing that. Floriferous is featuring a new artist, Clementine Campardu. She is an amazing watercolor artist. This will be her first published game, assuming it funds and goes through all those steps, but created a little artist showcase to show off some of her work and link her page and stuff like that. So, that's just a way of highlighting part of the product. Another thing that I sort of did with Herbaceous Pocket Edition, and I think one other title, is we have an included stretch goals section that's not actually stretch goals in the way you traditionally do it. It's just a listing of the cool things that we have that we're doing in the title that would be stretch goals if we had separated the stretch goals. So for example, we have the little custom tokens with the silk screen or painting on it. And I didn't, the idea here is like, hey, we really want this to be a fantastic product. That's why we've invested our time. That's why we would like Kickstarter backers to help us make it a reality. And we know what this experience should be, and this is what it should look like. This is the product. So let's show you all those pluses that we've done so that folks don't take it for granted, but not create this pledge level system of doing that. So in terms of stretch goals, social goals we're a little weaker on. I think I still know that Pencil First Games needs to do a better job with social goals. I haven't done a good job on it, and I'm still not doing a good job on it. I think Liftoff, the original title, did the most there. Next, we are going to have a retailer program for this campaign. It's not that I haven't dealt with retailers in the past. They'll reach out via, the Kickstarter email or messaging service, and talk about it and come up with some arrangement. But I want to actually do a formal thing. But I talked to a lot of creators and ultimately decided not to do a pledge level. I get why some folks have done it, but then they're reconciling and chasing people down. We're just doing essentially a sign up that says, hey, this looks cool. We'd be interested. If we were interested, we'd, want 6 copies or 12 copies or whatever. Let us know. And then essentially what we do is the idea, haven't done it yet, is as we're getting closer, as we know our date, as we're on a boat, all those things, we'll reach out and talk to those folks and say, hey, you got 60 days or 30 days or whatever is appropriate to finalize your order, and we'll work it out, and then you'll get your copies. Instead of sort of having that arbitrary setup, and ultimately, if the retailer doesn't want the game anymore or isn't around or wants to change their order, that's fine. I'll just use it to benchmark our print, and I'm not expecting some huge number, right? So I'm not expecting like, oh, if this program, I'm going to print 20,000 extra. It's like, there's going to be like 300, 250, like whatever. And so it's sort of like, I'll do an extra 500 if I think that's going to be there. And if it isn't, maybe it hurts a little bit, but it won't be like suddenly I'm stuck with 50,000 copies I thought we're going to sell. I just don't think it's going to happen. We've been spending a lot of time working on our community, so we link our community page and we have the team. One of the other things, though, which will be the same, is other than the first campaign with Liftoff, where I tried to, I was more aggressive with a shipment date based on feedback. We are not going to be more aggressive about a shipment date. We're going to launch in March 23rd, Tuesday, a few days. The delivery date's going to be April or May of next year. Do I think it's going to take that long? No, I don't think it's going to take that long, but I don't know it's not. I mean, shipping is terrible right now. It is terrible. If you're trying to be aggressive on your Kickstarter dates right now, you're crazy. You're crazy. Think of the worst number you can imagine and add 3 more months to it. Seriously. It's crazy. So I'm just going to create the buffer, and if we deliver early, that's great. If we're stuck on a boat, outside of a port for 4 months, and then, that stuff is what is happening right now. So, look, I hope this perspective has been helpful. It's such an amazing opportunity to have the chance to bring these games to life, bring them to Kickstarter, find the audience, find the support, and then deliver them. Floriferous is a pretty special game. It's gorgeous. It plays wonderfully, and it's been just so much fun to bring together. Hopefully, backers see that as well, and we fund and then go on to deliver. Certainly, you can look at all the resources I have here. If you have any questions, just feel free to make them in the comments. I'm always happy to share. My hope is this helps everyone be better. Everyone bring more wonderful games to light. And so, yeah. March 23rd, just a few days. Thanks. Bye. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.